And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button for me. There's a PayPal link in the details section for anybody who wants to share some love. And the StreamYard link is down there for anybody that does want to join the panel. My apologies for delayed start on this. I was going to do it last night, didn't get to, so I scheduled it for this morning. And of course, this morning didn't start out as planned, so we had to postpone it again. My apologies. In the meantime, what we're looking at today is a video from a cop training seminar, and this is from the civil rights lawyer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I've done a review on a couple of his things before, but the civil rights lawyer. Let me, oops, wrong one. Make sure I get that link in there for everybody. I did not put the link to this video in the thing, I don't believe. So I will double check. And like I said, if it's not there at the end of the stream, I will go ahead and edit and put it in there. And in the meantime, let's get into it. Cop training seminar exposed on video. Thousands of cops nationwide involved, and it's the civil rights attorney, civil rights lawyer. So all you got to do, punch in your search engine, the civil rights lawyer in YouTube, and it should take you to a site, and you should be able to find this video. So here we go. Civil rights attorney cop training seminar exposed. And what we're talking about here, folks, is we already know that the police don't know the law. And they're bound to use their discretion. In that, we're finding out, of course, that obviously, the police are the ones that are training other police. So if they don't know the law, and yet they're training the future police, then what we're doing, in effect, is training our future police not to know the law and commit these egregious violations. And this is why this must be stopped. You have to learn how to govern yourself, and that's what it's going to take to be able to know the law better than these police, so you can use it against them. They're the ones violating it, and it's a matter of being trained to do so. It's a military tactic.
In October 2021, about 1,000 police officers attended a private police training conference in Atlantic City. What we found was really disturbing.
I'm not talking the guy who's recording you like, oh, I am not a citizen of the United States under Act 12, 6. Shut the up, right? I'm about to get pepper sprayed, tased, windows broken out, motherfucker.
Welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel. In this video, we are going to talk about this report that came out in New Jersey from the acting comptroller that looked into this private law enforcement training firm, training approximately 25,000 to 30,000 cops nationally on an annual basis. Well, they investigated this one particular course being taught, the Street Cop Conference in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Almost 1,000 police officers showed up to be trained. And now,
almost sounds like a video game. Street Cop Conference. Is that truly what they want to be called, is street cops? I mean, aren't they police? Isn't that the official title, police officers? So why are they calling it a Street Cop Conference? See, it's when we start derogating ourselves through these different ad hominems and stuff. And this is why I get on people about the ad hominems. We got this lovely guy down there in the chat that wants to say, you lying fraud, you grifting old fool, love the dog shit. Those are the kind of people that you really need to pay attention to and learn how to put in line. And the best way to put them in line is to let them know their fallacy. Well, how are you going to let these police know their fallacy unless you understand the very difference between a police officer and a street cop? Again, it gets down to the language and the mentality of the use of that language. So when we have people that have a mentality of love the dog shit, you grifting old fool, you lying fraud, it goes back to the old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, then you shouldn't say anything at all. So again, and if that's the base principle concept you have in your life, when people call you ad hominems, it doesn't set you off.
According to the Attorney General of New Jersey, all of these officers have to be retrained because there were problems.
I've made it very clear to all 38,000 sworn officers and their leadership that no one should be attending street cop training.
No one should be attending street cop training. Why? Because of what I just said. If you don't have the mind to be open and be able to hear what's being said, even as a good cop, you might think you're a good cop, but if you don't have the ears to listen and understand what's being said and done, you're going to be dogmatically trained into that system to do the exact same thing, and that is not a good cop. And that's why we have all these people professing to be good cops while they stand back and watch other bad cops do the bad things and then don't do anything about it. Again, evil only exists because good men don't stand up and do anything about it. That's why it's on us. If the police are not going to do it, you have to.
Before we get into the specifics of what they taught that was wrong, legally speaking, here's a few of the greatest hits from the conference.
I don't want to hear those exit. I want to fucking die at like 91 with hookers and cocaine around me, you know? So we watched your body cam videos. We don't think you got a voluntary consent. Yeah, here's 7 pieces of case law, fuckhead. Stop trying to back the 19-year-old dispatcher.
I would be remiss if I didn't remind you or let you know that I have a 3-inch dick.
I'm not the one with the 1-inch dick.
I watched this car come off the highway, and I fucked the shit out of the female driver. She doesn't want to fuck me back, though.
See, that's narcissism, folks. They straight up hire idiotic narcissists. These are people that have low IQs, but believe they know it. They believe they know everything and how it works. And that's true narcissism. And that's believing without knowledge.
When I began to research the guys involved in teaching these cops, it's no wonder why they now have to be retrained. Look at this one in particular. This was something he said during this conference.
In the South, it's the Wild Wild West, South, wherever. You don't believe me? Run from Georgia State Patrol. Run from me. Somewhere along the chase becomes neither confirm or deny. There's some videos out there with me doing just that.
Absolutely. And he's proud of it. This is sickening. This is a sick level of narcissism. There's videos out there showing me doing just that. While he's in front of hundreds of people, training them to do the same thing, while living on a belief without knowledge. We really have to learn. Again, if you guys don't see it, we are slowly becoming Hitler's willing executioners. And it isn't until the people that don't want to be Hitler's willing executioners actually stand up against those that are willing to be Hitler's willing executioners will there come a resolve. Otherwise, it will just slowly permeate the rest of society and everybody will become Hitler's willing executioners and history will repeat itself again. Wake the fuck up.
Obviously, what is the first thing that I went and did when I heard him say that? I searched for the video. Check this out from just a few months ago.
First on the news at 6 o'clock, a Reserve West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's deputy who shot into the back of a fleeing car is facing charges tonight.
Sean Pardazzi was fired in February, months after the initial incident took place. He's now facing charges of illegal discharge of a firearm and obstruction of justice.
Pew, 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 pew. See, they think it's all fun and games. They act like little kids in a video game going pew, pew, pew. It's much more egregious than that. That's only done to desensitize people. They do kill people. They do murder people. Get off of this unalived shit. That's a desensitization. They kill and murder. Censor me. Try to censor me for saying kill and murder.
Park.
And what about the main dude? Well, I looked him up also, Dennis Benino. He's the one who said he was going to tase the guy for filming him.
Shut the fuck up, right? About to get pepper sprayed and fucking tased. Windows broken out, motherfucker.
Well, on Street Cop Training's website, he has this bio of himself where he says that he worked in one of New Jersey's largest municipalities in 2005. He has received multiple awards, including but not limited to life-saving, meritorious service, Mayor's Award for Excellence in Public Service, several letters of recognition, leadership awards, and certificates of appreciation from several law enforcement organizations. And he now leads one of the fastest growing LEO education companies in the country. But see,
one of the fastest LEO educational companies. See, these people that don't even know what the law is are going out and teaching other people how to be police officers enforcing the law that they don't know. When are you going to learn to stop this, folks? When are you going to learn how to stand up for your rights and let these people know you're no longer going to consent to their idiocy, their false discernments? They're robbing, raping, pillaging, murdering.
CBS News had this headline about him. CBS New York investigates controversial police trainer was disciplined for alleged racial slur, other incidents. They ask, how did a former New Jersey police officer who was disciplined 3 times in a period of 5 years go on to train thousands of officers while charging local governments thousands of dollars? This is the same guy.
CBS News discovered the founder of Street Cop, Dennis Benino, was a street cop himself in Woodbridge Township, New Jersey. Public records revealed Benino was disciplined by the department 3 times in 5 years. In 2015, 3 women accused him of using excessive force and racial bias. Woodbridge Township paid $50,000 taxpayer dollars to settle before it went to trial. Benino never admitted wrongdoing. Woodbridge police say he retired from the department at age 33, weeks after that lawsuit was filed. Then he went on to create Street Cop.
Retired at age 33 after costing the city thousands and thousands of dollars. This one cop, let me point out a perspective here, people. I've got 94 cases down at the local courthouse, and I don't know why my camera is not working here. Anyway, 94 cases down at the local courthouse, and 94 cases, and they don't equal up near $50,000. Nothing near. So this one guy in one case cost the city more than I have cost this city in three and a half decades in 94 cases. Of course, that's because I didn't cost the city anything. They came in, robbed, raped, and pillaged the estate. See, that's what the effect is. These officers are the ones that are initiating all that. It's time to stop.
So there's some of the background on likely why this training is problematic. But looking back at Mr. Benino's bio, he ends up by saying his personal mission is to ensure the safety of law enforcement personnel, citizens of the world, and to ensure police officers are well-versed in understanding and abiding by the Constitution of the United States.
Yet he doesn't even know how to enforce that Constitution. You can tell by his language and what he thinks about the people, and merely the fact that he cost the city $50,000 already. And now he's going to turn around and try to train officers. But like the New Jersey guy said, no, you need to be retrained. That guy's not training you properly. I imagine they'll eventually put a stop to this guy. But as far as I know, he's still training to this day.
Investigated this 6-day conference hosted by a private company called Street Cop Training. Instructors taught unconstitutional policing practices, teaching officers to stop motorists without a lawful basis and to illegally prolong traffic stops.
Have a day where you go out and go, people pull over 20 people in a row for the sole purpose of asking them a series of questions and make up your own questions. Something as simple as, hey, how you doing? Where you come from? You know, hey, where you going? You're real friendly.
See, pulling 20 people over in a row is definitely not the way the law is intended. The law was intended to be observed. That means you observe something first, and then you go after them. You don't go after them and then conduct investigations to do searches so you can try to find something. That is the problem. These people think they have the authority because they wear a motherfucking badge and have a nice car with lights on it that they can pull anybody over for any reason and just make shit up along the way. Time to put an end to it.
Friendly about us and just see how people answer questions. You will learn general baseline.
So that was Officer Tommy Brooks of the Boston, Massachusetts Police Department explaining his methodology for stopping motorists. The only problem is that's unconstitutional, what he's saying. He's going to stop just the first 20 cars.
And see, that's why we have such a problem in Boston, obviously, but across the country, around the world. Police officers think that simply because they became a police officer that now they have authority to do those things. No, you don't have authority to do anything despite being a police officer unless there are certain events that occur. You can't do things that create the possibility of events. Everybody's doing it backwards. The event has to occur first before they can record it.
Police are not allowed to randomly stop people for no reason. They are also not allowed to stop a person or a car for arbitrary reasons or based on an inarticulate hunch or gut feeling that the driver or passenger might be engaged in criminal activity. Basic Constitutional Law 101.
We've all seen the videos of Kenny Williams of him sitting in the driver's seat. He's finger stuck in his computer, really just playing Tetris, not doing anything. And he's asking them very simple questions in the midst of his investigation. Oh, so who's that in the car again? Oh, where'd you guys say you're going? You're going for a long time? I have family out that way. Making up a story and trying to engage them in a casual conversation.
So that's Brad Gilmore of the Bergen County, New Jersey Prosecutor's Office, advocating for prolonging motor vehicle stops in violation of the Fourth Amendment. During a vehicle stop, police officers are allowed to make ordinary inquiries incident to the stop, such as checking the driver's license, car registration, and insurance, and running a check for outstanding warrants. While making those inquiries, officers are allowed to ask questions of the driver and passenger, even if those questions are unrelated to the justification for pulling over the car in the first place. But officers are not allowed to perform those inquiries in a way that unreasonably prolongs the stop. Absent some other justification of further detention, once the mission of the stop is complete, whether it's issuing a ticket or a warning, the police officer must release the motorist to go on their way immediately. If the officer detains a motorist for any additional time in an effort to develop additional reasonable suspicion to justify a search or further detention, or to request a canine sniff, the stop becomes illegal. And all evidence obtained from that point forward, whether guns, drugs, or incriminating statements, likely will not be admissible in court. Again, Basic Constitutional Law 101.
Basic constitutional law. It is so basic that they know it, but their training is is proving that they are willing to violate it. That's basic 101 constitutional law, folks. 7th and 8th graders learn that in junior high, middle school.
In Indiana, speed limit for trucks is 65, cars is 70. There's no fucking way that any car should ever be behind a semi if they have the ability to pass it. So when you do...
This is just the most profound, idiotic qualification for pulling anybody over I have ever heard.
Do that, if you're coming through Indiana, I'm gonna fucking stop your ass.
If the trucker is only allowed to do 65 and you in a car are allowed to go 70, which is the way it is over there, and you're going 65 with the trucker, this guy is saying he is going to pull you over because you are not doing 70. You are only doing 65. So what they're doing is they're placating that now that you have to drive the speed limit regardless. And that if you're not driving the speed limit, they can give you a ticket one way or another. You cannot allow these people to play these stupid, fucking, idiotic mental games like that. Okay? These are the kind of people I would love to tear up on a fucking stand. Prove that they have zero ability to be cognitively able to process logic. Zero.
Like, he has the whole left lane to pass his fucking semi, but he's going to sit right behind it. It makes zero sense. It's not logical.
So that's...
It makes zero sense. It's not logical. In this example, you saw he had his right turn signal on, so probably he knew he was coming up on an exit. So there are logical reasons that why somebody would sit back. This is what's not logical and reasonable about how these people think. It proves they don't know what logic and reason is.
Instructor Kenny Williams, a sergeant with the Hobart Police Department in Indiana, and that was him, you could see in the last clip, unlawfully prolonging a stop by sitting a driver in the front of his patrol car and pretending to type on his laptop the entire time that he has the driver sitting next to him. But rather than conclude the stop at that point, Williams continued asking the motorist questions and then explained to the conference attendees that he ultimately found a large quantity of drugs in the car. However, on the facts shown, there was not a lawful basis for Instructor Williams to prolong the stop at that point. By the way, somebody get that guy a lawyer. I mean, he's probably sitting in prison somewhere, and the police officer who arrested him has admitted to 1,000 other cops and the internet that the entire stop was illegal, violation of the Fourth Amendment, and therefore the drugs that were seized in the vehicle should have been suppressed, and he should not be sitting in prison.
And that's what tells me that any one of these officers getting up there telling these stories, somebody should seriously go back and look at every last one of their cases and reinvestigate each one of them, contact each of the people that were arrested and re-interview them to their facts and see if there was something that they think was out of line. Most of them might, as being the bitch-ass slaves most people are that I see, again, just my opinion, and let's not forget, I've been the bitch-ass slave myself before myself. So it's not like I'm trying to be mean or put anybody down. It's just to get you to wake the fuck up to what the reality is. You're acting like a bitch-ass slave if you think this legal and lawful statute system applies to you just because somebody told you to, and that's your belief. You have to get out of that belief thing and understand what's really going on and who it actually applies to, and find out for yourself if you're one of those that it applies to. If not, all you're doing as a bitch-ass slave is helping that same slave system enslave other people that don't need to be and aren't associated in that manner. The law is to be applied according to its purpose, not your purpose to take home a goddamn paycheck.
And here, Kenny Williams states that in Indiana, the speed limit for trucks is 65, but for cars, it's 70. And in his opinion, there's no effing way that any car should be behind a semi if you have the ability to pass it. If you're coming through Indiana, I'm going to stop your ass all the effing time, even though you could be totally legit. In support of
even though you could be totally legit. So he's using it simply to pull you over to do the investigation, like I said, to see if he can find something. He's going to use that as an excuse, and you can't let him use that excuse to do so. Listen, I was within the law. I was within the law. The law is that I'm not supposed to exceed the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. Just because I was doing less than that doesn't mean you have a reason to pull me over. That's the problem. You cannot let them use false logic like that. That is just insanity.
At that point, Williams showed video footage where he pulled over a car that was driving behind a truck and committing absolutely no crime or traffic infraction. The video proves that. So he makes a stop and he documents it and he teaches it to other cops.
Thanks for the sub, brother. Appreciate it.
Where he's literally violating the Fourth Amendment by pulling somebody over in the complete absence of any reasonable suspicion that a crime or infraction has been committed. Again, basic constitutional law 101, not only being taught incorrectly or ignored, but teaching them to violate the Fourth Amendment.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. We have these officers out there that have lost their job, retired early, and it doesn't give them a badge mark because they were violating policy. And now they're out there teaching others how to do that exact same thing, violate the policy and get away with it as much as possible. See, they work on an incentive program. The better they accomplish that incentive program, the better checks they get, and the more they're able to take home to their family. And they get butthurt when somebody steps in and cuts off that line of money. These are people that are mongering the money, and they're using fear tactics against the rest of the society as a fear-mongering system to attain that paycheck. It's all about that money, and that's why these people come out here with this egotistical, narcissistic mentality, because the rest of the population they know is probably only got about a 7th or 8th grade reading comprehension, so they're going to be too stupid to understand this stuff. No, this is basic 101 constitutional elements that any 7th or 8th grader should be able to understand. So let's get back to the reality and learn what it really is that's being violated and who's doing it. Most likely, most people will find out it's themselves violating themselves. But once you fix that part, then you'll be able to see that other people are violating you. And these are the specific people here we're talking about, is these people in uniforms and people in public authority in this public service, which is a public trust. And they refuse to accept that we are, in fact, the ones they are serving, the benefactors.
But wait, there's more. Now, some of this is less important than the constitutional law stuff, but you start to get a picture of why cops behave the way they do when you see how they act behind closed doors and how they teach each other. Remember, the audience is interacting with all of this very positively, as far as I can tell.
They denigrated women and racial and ethnic minorities.
I don't want to hear those exit. I don't want to fucking die at like 91 with hookers and cocaine around me, you know? Why wouldn't that be your goal and objective? Like I'm on vacation in Colombia, money, and these girls like are not as wealthy and they need to do things to make money.
You're trying to get a little booty boom, nanny boom time, whatever the hell you call it, okay? There's an approach. You don't walk up and say, hi, what's your name? How old are you? Sounds like casting couch, doesn't it?
They promoted a warrior mentality and glorified violence.
There's nothing else I'm good at. I love violence. I love fighting. I love shooting, and I fucking love freedom. It wasn't that long. Ago that we were drinking out of the schools of our enemies. Like, I'm gonna fucking murder this guy, then I'm gonna take his head, then I'm gonna cut his head in half, and then I'm gonna boil his skull, and then I'm gonna drink out of that skull.
I believe I was muted there. See, this is the kind of prick I really dislike. See, I like freedom too, but I like my freedom nice and peaceful. Not all warring and fighting and getting all fucked up and having to pull guns and shoot people. See, I don't think freedom is about violence and killing people and making them your slave. I think freedom is about being able to enjoy life and be appreciated by life and those around you. These kind of people make me sick.
To to be clear, what Tim Kennedy is saying could be perfectly appropriate to an audience of people training in MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or even high school kids on a football team. I really wouldn't even have a problem with that. But here we are talking about training police officers, agents of our government, to interact with us American citizens.
They belittled internal affairs.
Get kicked in the dick one too many times, when we get in trouble by IA, when we lose our motivation and inspiration. I harped a lot on all the negativity. How many times I got kicked in the dick because they didn't want me to go out there and hit a trap, and they didn't want to hit money, they didn't want to hit me kilo. I hit 15 kilos, I hit 300,000. I'm still getting yelled at.
Somebody with some kind of fucking thing on their shoulder. Shoulders or neck collar or fucking whatever. So, hey, we watched your body cam videos. We don't think you got a voluntary consent. Yeah, here's 7 pieces of case law. Fuckhead. Stop trying to back a 19-year-old dispatcher. Get a fucking life.
They dehumanize civilians.
You don't like treating turds, right? You're like, fuck them, the ambulance can take care of them, right? And I had a problem treating, gangbangers and the people that were the pieces of shit of society, right? And I had a great mentor that told me, well, Sean, guess what? That's a lot of tissue lab, bro. Anytime you can come to one of these shitbags, absolutely do the best you can. Absolutely, because what if he gets hurt, right? Or she gets hurt, or he gets hurt, then I can perform that flawlessly because now I've had some reps in. Everybody get that? Everybody with me on that?
They made jokes about their genitalia and harassed members of the audience.
All right, so normally in my class, we open up that beer tap and I just start spraying people with information. But today, you guys are just gonna get the tip.
I would be remiss if I didn't remind you or let you know that I have a 3-inch dick.
I'm not the one with a 1-inch dick. I watched this car come off the highway and I fucked the shit out of the female driver. She doesn't want to fuck me back though.
That's not an 18-year-old kid dressed like Jesus coming eastbound out of Trenton. It's a 75-year-old black man, a change in drive behavior, came into a gas station, and I'm like, what the fuck? And you know what? Shame on me, because I look in there and I'm like, oh, got a couple small rubber bands. And all I'm doing is asking, hey, what's up with that?
And believe it or not, according to CBS News, while maybe not in New Jersey anymore, But in other states, apparently this training is continuing to happen.
Street Cop's website is promoting upcoming training across the country. Benino did not respond to CBS News for an interview request. He did post a video in response to the comptroller report apologizing for the offensive language and denying that Street Cop ever taught unconstitutional policing.
In fact, right there on their website, they are advertising this year's 2024 Street Cop Training Conference in Kissimmee, Florida, April 28th of this year.
This is happening all throughout the country, guys. This is being implemented, like I said, slowly but surely over time, by people that are acting just like Hitler's willing executioners. Greetings, John. How you doing tonight? Or this afternoon, I guess.
We're doing great. We're doing great. Feels good to be here today because, you know, I'm in the car, no less. So, hey, no OMB number. I'm not under municipal code. Okay.
There you go. See, that's a simple comprehension. That's simple logic, folks. No OMB number. That's Office of Management and Budget. So maybe you're not speaking of the right budget that I belong to, because I'm expecting to have an OMB number on there so I can address the appropriate trustee. See, I'm the benefactor. It's that simple. It's really that simple. And I appreciate how you understand that, John. So many people don't.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we're the
just
source.
here.
Yeah.
We're one of the sources anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
you know,
we're the
there's
original
other-
source. We're the original source, and then we can create other sources. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's other sources of credit, I think, but like, let's say livestock and, you know, the land. They can't talk and they can't write. We're the only source of credit that can speak and write, Keith.
Right. And when you understand how this system works, they can't sell the land. So what are they selling you? They're selling you the paperwork. And then guess what you do? You go home and put that paperwork in a file and you don't see the importance. That's the property. That's got all the patent and trademark and trade name and copyright shit that's important. When you understand how that record works and who you are in regards to that record, you find out you don't need that record. Not only do you not need it, they're supposed to hold it, not you. That's the legal title. And if you're holding it, it should collapse the trust. Equity title merged with legal title collapses the trust. So if you're holding it, you don't step forward as the holder with rights to enforce that instrument, holder in due course. Now you can enforce that instrument as a holder. Guess what? I get to settle the matters. That title it's merged with the legal title. I get to settle it. That title is not certificated properly. How do I know? Because I'm the origin source. I'm not taking an oath. I'm not, in fact, a United States business. I'm not, in fact, a United States citizen. I'm not, in fact, a resident. Those are all terms that need to be corrected that will show that, hey, it was entered wrong. I'm sorry, I was indoctrinated into believing that I was supposed to enter that information. But after my years of research, I found out much different. And if you refuse to acknowledge it, you're again the public servant in that public trust. And that would be malfeasance and misfeasance. And I will charge you in the international forum for that.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an international incident. This isn't one of your little domestic tranquility things under that Constitution for national security. This is an international incident because now you're operating outside of your national security measures and violating an international trust under the treaty.
Wow.
Yeah, Geneva and Vienna Conventions. That's a military armament you got on your in your holster there, brother. You better know what law applies. It's military. Comes all the way down from the Law of Nations and Vienna Convention. And you're in a little bit of trouble when you talk to me.
This.
Wow.
Here's the cost per person, $699. Why so much? Well, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that taxpayer money is likely paying for this. As far as the guy saying that he hasn't taught anything unconstitutional, well, I will link below and put on the blog the actual report from the comptroller's office in New Jersey that goes into great detail, not only on what I've told you about.
Comptroller's report. See, it's all about the money, folks. And that's what we can do about it. See, we are truly the creditors under the nation.
And they should audit, right, Keith? Isn't that
right? Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Yep.
You do an audit. See, that's what I went to the city council meeting the other night, and I spoke to the mayor finally. Said, listen, I've been trying to get a meeting with you in private for well over 6 months now, and your ladies down there assured me that that would happen, but it hasn't. Nobody's ever contacted me back yet. So I finally got a meeting scheduled with him, and it's about that very issue. If you think that your corporate activities and your budget for this city are so much more important than the people, then you've forgotten that that very source of the monies that you're looking for come from those people. Then you're going to find yourself in a bad spot. You can't keep locking up the very people that are investing in your company.
Isn't that amazing, Keith?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
They're locking up their own source of credit.
Absolutely.
And they're always writing tickets against their source of credit. That's what's very interesting about this. How could they do that?
Yep. And so what we can do about it is understand through informed use of credit. Let me see if I can pull that up while this plays on.
Right here, but many more things that they've said that were blatantly wrong and unconstitutional. It's all laid out there with the case law. It's a fascinating report, and you can go over it as much as you want. All they're going to do is just hide next time. They're going to make sure there's no video. They're going to suppress the course materials. But this, I predict, is going to be a treasure trove of future civil rights litigation, both in criminal cases and in civil Section 1983 cases. We need to know which police officers have been to these seminars. Who taught there? Is there video? What was said? What were the course materials? This is going to be more important now than ever. If you have any additional footage from any of these seminars or know anything else about these instructors, now is the time to start compiling it and spread this footage. Everybody needs to know. The taxpayers need to know, not just in New Jersey, but elsewhere, because look at all the states that have paid taxpayer funds to pay for these courses. The taxpayers need.
And this is from 2020 to 2023 so far. And like we heard earlier, it says they're still training, and they've got one coming up this April 28th to May 3rd or 4th or something down in Florida. So they're really canvassing the entire nation, folks.
To know that they're paying for these cops to go and denigrate them, to laugh at them, and to celebrate and teach each other how to violate your constitutional rights. So as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. If you have
civilrightslawyer.com, and let's take a look at 15 U.S. Code 1601, Congressional Findings and Declaration of Purpose, informed use of credit. The Congress finds that economic stabilization would be enhanced and the competition among the various financial institutions and other firms engaged in the extension of consumer credit would be strengthened by the informed use of credit. The informed use of credit results from an awareness of the cost thereof by consumers. It is the purpose of this subchapter to assure a meaningful disclosure of credit terms so that the consumer will be able to compare more readily the various credit terms available to him and avoid the uninformed use of credit, and to protect the consumer against inaccurate and unfair credit billing and credit card practices. Let's take a look at 15 U.S.C. 4724, and that one there is going to show us trade shows. Now, under trade shows, subsection E, it's a definition that says, as used in this section, the term United States business means a United States citizen. Did anyone give you the informed use of credit as a United States citizen anywhere in the public education system and let them know that by use of that identification, you were portraying a United States business that was able to extend credit?
Whew. Damn.
No,
way.
they did not. Greetings, Rico Mesa. Thank you. Appreciate the sub. So what do you think, John? Shit's getting pretty ridiculous, don't you think?
I think that it's so ridiculous that even the system doesn't understand it. So that's what makes it sad.
That's what I mean.
You know?
That's why I'm pointing these definitions out. They're very plain and simple. And it's astounding, again, that we have a reading comprehension of 7th and 8th grade, and yet we seem to believe that America is the greatest nation in the world at this point. I think that's a very weak nation. Comparatively to others, it might be stronger than most. But in my adult mind, I think a 7th or 8th grade reading comprehension as a national average makes for a very weak nation. Go ahead.
And then why not bury the codes? I don't know if I could read those before the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
that's what I say about this internet. It's the greatest library you can have, folks. Use it.
That's what I'm saying. And then, they have the authority, they got the badge, they got the bulge, the judge has got an elevated desk. I mean, they just did a perfect job to scare us.
Yep, all scare tactics. Every last bit of it. Well, anyway, folks, that's it for today, or for now anyway. I'll be back at 6 to do the next thing on the Socratic logic series. So we'll see you then. In the meantime, you got anything to say on the way out, John?
No, I'm good.
All righty. Well, with that, you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And that's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night.